Okay, so the first thing where it says find the length between each pair of points, anytime you see length, you need to know that that means the distance formula. So that's a formula you're going to need memorized for your quiz. Length means you're talking about a distance. And remember, with the distance formula, I said you can remember SAS to remember it's subtraction, addition, subtraction. The difference of our x values squared plus the difference of our y values squared, all underneath the square root. So using the points I have, that would give me 5 subtract -1 squared plus -6 subtract 6 squared. Or 6 squared plus -12 squared. 6 squared gives me 36, and -12 squared gives me positive 144, which will leave me with the square root of 180. And then you want to make sure that your radical cannot be simplified anymore. So you'll go ahead and prime factor the number or use perfect squares, whatever works for you. So if I prime factor this number, remember it's a square root, so I'm looking for sets of 2. So I have 2 2s and 2 3s, which means I will have 2 times 3 or 6 out front, and the 5 that's left behind will go inside my radical. To find the midpoint of a line segment, given the 2 endpoints, you need to use the midpoint formula, or just remember that the midpoint is the average of your 2 points. So the average of your x's and the average of your y's. For this problem, the average of your x's, 10 plus 2 over 2. Average of our y's, 8 plus 8 divided by 2, would give you 12 over 2 or 16 over 2, which reduces to 6 and 8. If you're given an endpoint and a midpoint and asked to find the other endpoint, then it becomes a little more challenging. So here you are using your midpoint equations. And you know if the midpoint is at -10, 0, then you can set the average of your x's equal to -10 and the average of your y's equal to 0. And if you are given one of your endpoints, then you can plug in that value for your x1 value and then solve. Multiply by 2 on each side and then add 4, which tells you that your other endpoint has to have an x value of -16. Similar, if you know that the endpoint has an y value of -6, then you can substitute that in for your y1 and solve the exact same way, which gives you a y value of +6. So then you can write that your endpoint would be at -16, 6. The next part of this is construction. So for the constructions, I'm going to go to the constructions website and just run through the demos of those. So one is bisecting an angle. So to bisect an angle, you put your compass on the vertex, draw an arc through each ray. Then from each of those arcs, draw a new arc, and then connect the intersection of those arcs with the vertex, and you've bisected the angle. to do a perpendicular bisector, you start with your line and you draw an arc above and below that line. And then you put pin on the other end point and draw an arc above and below that line. And then you connect the two intersection points, and that gives you your perpendicular bisector. The last construction that you are asked to do on this warm-up was copying an angle. So if you're asked to copy an angle, you need to draw a new vertex and a ray going in any direction, any length. You then draw an arc across the angle and draw the same arc across your new ray. You measure the distance from ray to ray on the first arc and use that to mark where you need to be on your copied arc. Draw on your second ray and you're done.